that work. Let them know my work. Came up straight from the dirt. Putting that work. And I'm the berserk. Trying to hate, and it don't work. If I want it, then I got it. Yeah, keep the racks in my pocket, and they stare when we shopping. Damn, they just keep watching if they wanna get poppin'. Shoot, they can meet this rocket, and they always wanna play that. Yeah, till I just stop it. I said that, yeah, I meant that. You see that? I get that. You think they how you live, I respect that. You ain't talking money, please get back. She said I couldn't do it, but I did it. Oh, damn. Spend a lot, but I get it. Oh, yeah. That's because I put in that work. And every day it means like church. I put in that work. Let them know my work. Came up straight from the dirt. Put in that work. Let them up the circle. They trying to hate, but get my work. I put in that work. Let them know my work. Get up straight from the earth. Put in that work. Better come up first. See me that she looks work.
Look. Always, lady, I'm here, but I'm there with the arcade, lady. I'm moving the dark, I'm going Darth Vader. I know you with your friend, you innovative, baby. Your girl got a man, but you slid, baby. Put a kid on you, baby. The kid got to know, and that's 773, and you can act it, don't know. I done told these tricks, don't call me. My line too busy, I can't even answer. Yeah, I think you was all, but I really can't. I ain't never had a bar, they ain't take hours. In the late hour, she gon' take showers. In the fourth quarter, I ain't got a quarter. I don't take orders. It's great power. She say we immortal. It's a fatality. It's a paid gallery. They don't see us fight.
Put in that work. Let them know my work. Straight from the dirt. Put in that work. Let them up the circle. And if they don't know, they gon' learn. Put in that work. Let them know my work. Get up straight from the earth. Put in that work. Let it come up first. If I see her, I'm gonna burn. She a full-grown witch. Yeah, they was calling her a bitch before she write their name down. Throw that paper in the ditch. Now they life fucked up and they luck just switch. Heartbroken, feeling numb again. She told herself she never fall in love again. And that was all true until I pulled up the block and she saw me, dude. Yeah, and the instant we caught eyes, magic was the moment we instantly stopped time. This voodoo she using is too true. Connection divine, she playing dumb like who knew? And I don't know as much as I wish I did, but I stay on point like a fucking shuriken. See, I thought I was gonna get it in. Little did I know what I was getting in. She loves me so, she loves me not. She wants my soul, she wants my. And I know that this life here ain't really what it seems, cause I try to run away and she show up in my dreams. Her love obsessive, it makes me fiend. She just the queen, still looking for a king. I'm thinking this sent from above. Little did I know though, this that brew I love.
When you fall in love with a bruja, they say you the plug for the hoo-ha. You get 3 bitches when you rub on my fupa. I heard magic play got the pipe, but can you see out the hoopla? When you fall in love with a bruja, they say you the plug for the hoo-ha. You get 3 bitches when you rub on my fupa. I heard magic play got the pipe, but can you see out the
Walk
hoopla?
like she can have anything she want on the spot. See, they really only hate cause she everything they not. Wisdom and yada yada, the swagger, old shoe, the strength of both goon. Cross her once, that's your doom. Sing it straight to your tune. And I'm like a movie, got me coming soon. Never knew she was the sun to my moon. Until the moment that I got inside her womb. She loves me so, she loves me not. She wants my soul, she wants my. And I know that this life here ain't really what it seems, cause I try to run away and she show up in my dreams. Her love obsessive, it makes me fiend. She just the queen, still looking for a king. I'm I'm thinking this sent from above. Little did I know though, this that Bruja love.
Make you fall in love with a Bruja. They say you look down for a Wuha. You get 3 wishes when you rub on my Wuha. I heard magic Mike got the pipe, I can't receive like the hoopla. Make you fall in love with a Bruja. They say you look down for a Wuha. You get 3 wishes when you rub on my Wuha. I heard magic Mike got the pipe, I can't receive like the hoopla. Your goddess in the flesh, cold flex, the big body high priestess. Proceeded by my rap, I've been here, divine feminine. Eat the hearts of anyway, I told her God. When you want to spark, get it in. Talk about the stars, but it got to be physical. My Venus and his Mars and the whole sex ritual. Talking to my lower lips to tell me what he want. Like, I get cushy off the tongue. Takes the power of the yoni. You devouring the yoni. Help you manifest when you come. Give a testimony. Tell them how I made you run and see what other tricks I'm holding. How I fix it if it's broken. Ooh. Catch it when I throw it. Ooh. Stroking in this ocean that is 42. Look you in your face. Tell you what to do. I'ma leave it to no calendar the truth. But the impression that I leave on you. Quick energy exchange when you need a boost.
Got the magic. I got the magic. I got the magic. Yeah. I got the magic. If I hit it one time, you gasping. Then I hit it 2 times, body spazzing. When I hit it 3 times, that's a charm, baby. You'll say I have to make you mine. And you like that. Every time you leave, you come right back. When I lick your cat, it like to bite back. You know you can never live without that. Yeah, I put that ass to sleep like you knew I would. After the nightcap, hit you with the morning wood. You say you love how I grow it and I show it. I walk it like I talk it. I'm a scholar and a poet. Is it a bit fun if I say you make me grow up, not a player? Special, I wanna get to know you. I love the way you're moving towards me and how you walk in. Turn the lights off, now our bodies talking. I got the magic. If I hit it one time, you gasping. Then I hit it 2 times, body's passing. When I hit it 3 times, that's a charm, baby. You'll say I have to make you mine. And you like that. Every time you leave, you come right back. When I lick your cat, it like to bite back. You know you can never live without that. Yeah. Never knew love until I found you. Now all I wanna do is be around you. You love how I blow your mind and astound you. Make love to you in the room soundproof. First I make you moan, then I make you beg. Make you shake your legs, then you give me talking with your hands and hips, making sentences. If touching you a crime, take me straight to sentencing. If I hit it one time, you gasping. Then I hit it 2 times, body spazzing. When I hit it 3 times, that's a charm, baby. You say I have to make you mine. And you like that. Every time you leave, you come right back. When I lick your cat, it like to bite back. You know you can never live without that. Yeah. What it do, what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your monthly peace report, Virgo season. Thank you all for joining me. I'm going to do this one impromptu, so it's just going to be me and you. I'm already feeling this coming. Not like a weird vibe, right? But just comprehending this message. So shout out to y'all in the live chat. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys are, as always, amazeballs. That was track 3, 4, and 5 of the EP Solid that should be coming out October. I know I've been talking about this coming out for a while, so it's all good. Shout out to Old Soul Millennial, shout out to Linus, shout out to Nikki, shout out to Hathor, the Oracle, shout out to I Hear Your Thoughts. Shout out to the Future Meetup. Shout out to Ms. Nana. Shout out to Shireen. Shout out to Lisa, Nicolette, Eternal Soul, Zen Readers Only. Whether you are watching this live, shout out to King Sigma, Elisha, once again, Tessa, her higher self. Shout out to all of you who are YouTube members, by the way. Okay, we're going to, over the rest of the year, be integrating the Discord community, which will be a base of operations, as well as spruce up Facebook and Instagram. So, yeah, much appreciated for the love, y'all. Y'all already know what time it is whenever we do a monthly peace report. So, whew, the feeling I'm getting with this is like harvesting crops or harvesting work you've done, and you're looking in the basket and it's like so much more than you expected, especially for some of you who have been put in a rock and a hard place and have needed to, overcome or make up for a lot. And you're just, some of you may be feeling mind blown through this period, like, wow, like I really just made it work out. Like things are working out. Like even it doesn't make what challenges I'm going through any less challenging. In fact, some of it is even much more challenging, but the way I deal with it is so much more different. Like I was struggling with less challenges, and now there's so much more challenges and it's nothing. And so the whole vibe of this monthly peace report isn't necessarily going to be like the usual format. Okay. I'm going to pull up what are we going to call this? The rented Peacemobile. I'm not going to say Peacemobile 2.0 because, we're going to get the official Peacemobile, but, as you can see, I want to highlight the sun's opposition to Neptune here and squaring the moon. It's not a coincidence that you're here watching this as someone whose natal sun is in Gemini. Okay, so here's the sun Gemini, right? The moon's in Gemini. Sun Gemini, moon in Gemini. Moon in Gemini enabling you to be exceptionally more receptive. I don't like the. I feel you, Melody. We gonna get the real piece. But like the moon in Gemini making you more receptive to the expression from my sun, but also triggering with this information that you are more than welcome to take and do whatever you want with it, to literally go through this revolving door. Or if I may say so, the major twist. So we are going to go in, all right? If you have ever seen a monthly peace report, I go in, okay? I was channeling lunar deities the other day that were talking shit on me, but still like pulling miracles. So we're in a transition space where like, things aren't necessarily what they seem, or things that may have been unachievable or achievable, and you realize they're always achievable. It's even just hard to put this into words because like many of you are coming to accept once and for all that the world you may have staked your whole identity and traditions in is not necessarily crumbling, Pluto leaving Capricorn, but It's over, son. It's done. It's done. Neptune in Pisces is doing its illusion job to be like, don't worry, believe, love is the answer. Just don't be a bigot. Just whatever. Spiritual bullshit. Blah, 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 blah. But it's gonna go into Aries, and when that fog dispels, you'll see the fuckery that has been happening. You know what I'm saying? What does that look like? Pluto going into a sign of knowledge is a 29-degree Capricorn complete disclosure of the destruction of an old world order as Saturn of order and the world goes into Aries of a new sign, kicking in a new world order. Sextiling Pluto and Aquarius, where supernatural baby genius or supernatural alien baby geniuses will be born and take over the world when they're about like 15. So we have literally like 20 years to either get out of this planet or, you know what I'm saying? Basically, just know everything that I'm saying is an incentive to hyper accelerate the development of your abilities and your superpowers. Okay. We are entering a world where if you do not have a proficient ability to align your soul with your body and mind to activate unique gifts and abilities, then not only will you not make it, but it's going to seriously impede on your ability to see through advanced deceptions. Here's the good news. You have been using these abilities your entire life. This is where now at this stage of the moon in Gemini, okay, with Saturn that has taken 30 years to come back into Aquarius since the 1990s, specifically 91, 92, 93, which you want to think of as a 30-year operating system update where it's going around and collecting knowledge, literally programming and come back like I'm back, bitches. And we're going to control this population and use, of course, Aquarian connections and networks to Saturnian control population, manifesting the Neptune and Pisces camouflage so that you actually think that I'm doing something good when I'm actually just shaving you off in masses because I'm a necessary evil and it's my job. Now, if you take away the biased tint of my voice and what I said, you could just take that as just one expression of Saturn. Saturn is going to also have other different expressions. But I wanted to highlight that one because once again, you need, there is an incredible necessity for a hyper advanced expression of supernatural abilities to make it into this new world. Okay. And you can say we're entering a new age of Eternals, the age of Aquarius. Aquarius are celestials, this new age of the gods. Okay. If you can't harness or sustain a god form or you utilize your abilities to enhance your physical body is not going to make it through into where we're headed. And this is why, you know, everyone in their own way is working to get healthy at the most basic level, especially the earth sign level. Your body through exercising and health, your mental health, really just those two is the basics to which to break through. Okay. So you more than anyone understand this calling your soul because your soul is like, yo, 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 yo. Okay. And your spirit is like, oh, 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 because your spirit is awareness and your soul is your unconscious. Your soul is like, yo, go, 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 go. And your consciousness is seeing synchronicities that your soul is yoing, and your spirit is like, oh, 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 oh. Unless you're like a Pisces, and every moment is a synchronicity, like Sagittarius and Pisces. So it's just like, oh, 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 that's Sag. And then Pisces is like, oh, I'm more of the Gemini. So Gemini, we can only focus one moment at a time because God forbid we actually be like Libra and apply focus and attention span. I won't allow it. It goes against my religion. So we take it frame by frame. Oh. Hold on. That was that. Yeah, hold on. Oh. So it is what it is. You could be Virgo. Virgo, I don't want to say Virgo tries too hard, but they know how to balance it. They know how to make it look normal. Like, oh, oh. But inside they're bugging like Sagittarius, like, my bad. I feel like that was a lesson for someone. I'm sorry. Jupiter made me stupid. I understand. So I hope you don't take away from the gravity of this situation. The need to really step into supernatural abilities is paramount. All these people who are telling you, oh, superpowers are fake, psychic abilities are fake, astrology is fake. Do you think they're not waking up superpowers too? Like there's an element of like muggles that exists, but their capabilities are enhancing, their brain processing is enhancing, their ability to emote is enhancing. You're going to understand that they call it a different language. Depending on someone's philosophy or rhetorical structure and framework for life, chances are that they're just using a different set of words to make sense of their experiences. And it's uncomfortable for them to use words like energy or God or universe. So they say coincidence or blah blah or blah blah. And then of course you realize we're all just blah blah blahing our way through life. And we can just blah 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 together. Thank you, Tower of Bab. Thank you, Elohim, who caused Tower of Babu. You don't know what it's like to deal with this down here. But what's very interesting is here is the best news. Okay. It's very clear coming into Virgo season that there is a very important need for you to because some of you activate, some of you manifest it, some of you transform to it. You're understanding elements of yourself to where you're breaking through the stigma of embracing extra dimensional and eccentric expressions of metaphysical aspects of yourself, like a higher self, like spirit guides. Like you can come out the closet, guys. You can really fully come out this spiritual closet because the greatest news that, especially with this Pluto trine you're coming into, is the rigorous hard work that it takes to hyper accelerate an advanced understanding of superpowers within a social climate that actively ridicules you for even talking about it. Turns out you have already been mastering this. You have already come into, through this pressure, a unique and specialized utilization of your own superpowers. I am willing to bet you that more than 86% of you, yes, I pulled that percent out of my literal ass, are not even aware that you have such a mastered proficiency. Welcome to the super mutable T square, where you are now beginning to be uplifted out of the old perception of how you saw yourself. And you're literally reworking the way you perceive reality so that it could be aligned to what? Gemini, the understanding of truth of how jiggy you really are. So, welcome to this monthly peace report. Once we step into Libra season, we're going to go back to the classic format with the PowerPoint, and I'm going to break it down. But I want this to be more real. I want this to be more chill because I'm about to break the shit down out of everything that has led us to this point. This is a huge breakthrough point. And in that vein, we're going to actually go backwards. Instead of moving forward, we're going to actually go backwards so that I can give you the breakdown of everything that you've gone through since the new moon in Virgo 3 weeks ago. And then we're going to even go back to 2020. And then we might even go back to 2010 because it's very, 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 very important to understand quite primarily how all of these cycles have everything to do with you breaking through like you've never really broken through before. and not only individually, but collectively and socially. This is so goddamn exciting. Um, Given that you're already experiencing mystical and magical experiences, that at this point you're not even surprised. Like you want to even think about how subconsciously many of you have already quickly integrated, dreamlike experiences or supernatural experiences like it's nothing. You may be kind of understating the level of ingenuity and mental strength it takes to even do that. Whereas some other people may feel like they need pills or medicine for that, right? Not to stigmatize blah 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 politics, blah 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 blah, but I definitely want to make sure we illustrate that everything happening right now is preparing you for the rest of the year. Virgo season every year is an important recap because once we harvest and actually integrate everything we set in place, if you think there's really only 6 zodiac signs. So this is the end of the road. Once we step into Libra, we're now coming into the opposite side of everything that we set up the first 6 months. Libra is going to now take everything we've integrated in Virgo and we're going to present in Libra the way that you study for a group presentation. And then when we're in Libra season, you hit it with the PowerPoint slides and you start to present everything you've practiced. So Libra season, when you're presenting this PowerPoint slide, what are you presenting? You're presenting your identity. That's everything that you set in Aries when you turned the game on and you had to build your NBA 2K character or you had to create your RPG and you had to choose what class you are. Are you going to be a warrior? Are you going to be a medic? Are you going to be a cleric? Okay. You had to write what your name was. And then, of course, Scorpio, where we are now dealing with others and manifesting investments and sharing resources. We know that the resources you have to share with others came from Taurus, where you already did the work for that. And now you're going to take what you have developed 6 months from Taurus through Leo season, and you're going to share it in Scorpio with who you trust. Then the ideas you came up with in Gemini, you're going to see the higher meaning of in Sagittarius through right now this Virgo season that's bringing it into reality, into your behavior. So the magic that you learned in magic school in June that you're mastering now and perfecting, you're going to see ascended in Sagittarius before you fight the Elite Four. And then, of course, thank y'all, by the way, and this is where we get deeper now. Cancer, with the opposition in the first boss battle, took the first 1, 2, 3 season and now added depth to breaking through the sincere nature of your identity and where it's from, the foundation of your comfort zone that adds so much more substance to who you are. This is everything that in Capricorn season you're going to break through, coming into or out of the final boss battle with Pluto, where you're taking that core of the most authentic depth of your soul and you're reaching up into your higher self collectively in Capricorn to break through whatever stigma or fears outside your comfort zone, applying the Sagittarian philosophy and ascension of how you walk your talk and come into accomplishments that in Aquarius you will now connect and share with comrades and friends that you connected with in Libra. Before we, of course, complete in Pisces and take the mastery of this lifestyle and now form a brand new belief about who we can be because of what we've changed in our behavior coming back into Aries. Okay. Now, this is going to be exceptionally strange. The Sun opposition to Neptune. What's going to be exceptionally strange about this period is many, and I mean many people are going to really look so goddamn stupid around and in front of you. Because as much as people may put on fake smiles in front of your face, everything is still interconnected and interwoven. And so there's certain aspects of what you have been expressing and destined to express and bringing, the entrance of Uranus out of Pisces 2010, going through a whole 12-year cycle to break through in Aries and start to manifest in Taurus is representative of you bringing a unique aspect of your own self, good, bad, and ugly, because we're in this narcissistic perfectionist world where you have to sweep the negative under the rug but not do anything to actually address, so it just hampers our mental health issues, and Uranus just respects the collective less because of it. But concerning that, this is you bringing out of the ethers unique eccentric facets of yourself that, while different, are literally bringing into existence new wisdom, new magic, new power, new perspectives, because there's no one else that's really you. So we call this your Kirk, right? Your personality. Anyway, relative to this uniqueness and this Uranian splendor, there is a very subtle and not so subtle resistance towards what you do. The Saturnian systematic matrix is a matrix of control, and the Uranian element of trans-Saturnian quality out of this world through Aquarius, and the Neptunian supernatural ingenious of imagination through Pisces cannot be manipulated. It cannot be controlled. And most people are cowards who will, if they can't really lean on manipulative, passive-aggressive tactics, can only project on you because they're WLBs, characterized in Harvard dictionaries as weak little bitches. What we want to really be clear on here is the Uranian backlash towards the innovation of what you actually show threatens their existence. So when you tell people that you actually have dreams that come true, they get really angry at you because it goes against the established Saturnian notions that people are supposed to accept. And so I need to make sure you're clear. Those of you, everyone has the free will decision to suppress that or express that. Those of you who express that put yourself in a position to have to be projected on by mediocres, people who make the decision to be mediocre and close their mind to the brilliance that you can share with their brilliance, but they suppress. I want to make sure we're clear. We can't just dismiss that this is not happening. All right. A lot of this is subtle because, let's just be honest. Over the years, the passive aggressive, subtle, complex manipulation meant to passive aggressively reinforce your expression of this with you being made to feel weird or influenced to feel weird or just no expression back towards it. That was meant to stop what you were doing and suffocate you. But you were just filling your own cup. They had to learn the hard way that, oh, you actually do this. Your expression is not dependent on their approval or reaction. And this is slowly but surely driven them wild because it doesn't escape the truth that your perspectives threaten their reality. And this, do you know why this is very important? Nothing real can be threatened. So the fact that the truth you express threatens their reality means that they live a lie. This is the uncharacteristic hatred. When you start to move in the direction towards what's unique to you, and it's that rejection, okay? This is subtly layered the nuance between certain archetypes of people who you talk to, where the true elements of yourself are blind to them because they don't acknowledge it as anything, all right? This was never a disservice to you. You are only there to serve these people Most of you as ascended masters, most of you have all this magic. So you're like, okay, if you don't want the magic, that's cool. There are people who do. That's what you've also realized. There are a surplus of people who are like you, awakening to their gifts, because these are all decisions. So this is the strangest phenomenon that's going to be happening over the next 6 months, especially as soon as we go into Libra season. Virgo season is changing your perspective and direction. Then you move into that direction during Libra season to present the facts and analysis of everything that I will break down has changed in your behavior. I'm going to break this down critically because now that the moon's in Gemini, you can understand the truth of what's happening. Versus if I were to show you this beginning of the month and I'm going to say this is going to happen, you wouldn't really understand. Versus now you've already experienced it. So prepare for your mind to be blown. Because coming into this balsamic phase, everything you really have kind of decided to accept about postmodern conventional ways of perceiving your reality, you're going to throw in a little trash, and you're going to really take the risk of believing in your own unique way. Then you're going to have the new moon in Libra and laugh at yourself for thinking it was ever a risk in the first place, and just step into this whole new cycle all over again. Okay, that's going to be a theme all over again. So this strange phenomena over the next 6 months is with this Neptunian disillusionment. And the opposition in Neptune is very key here. This Neptunian third decan disillusionment is now unveiling the scales. Okay, Saul was killing Christians. He really believed that Christians were some stupid cult. We're talking about the Apostle Paul, who wrote majority of the epistles. Until no amount of this is a devout scholar, no amount of arguing, no amount of trying to show this person their gifts, no amount of one day they'll get it would do anything. It wasn't until he saw a vision of Jesus that the scales dropped from his eyes, and then he saw the truth. And I feel like this is a word for some of you, because some of you have felt like it's your job to prove yourself and to explain to people what is in plain sight. And instead, you've subjected yourself to narcissistic levels of gaslighting in your face to invalidate real magic you're doing just because it threatens their beliefs, even when you show receipts. And God has been telling you over and over, excuse me, why are you trying to prove to people that the gifts I gave to you work? Like, that don't make no sense. That doesn't make any sense. Especially for those of you who really believe you have and know and use your gifts and have used them when people have acknowledged it. Like, some of you have taken it upon yourselves to try and desperately prove to people and cast pearl, the literal swine. And you're looking at the pig like, and you're like, why don't the pigs see the value of this diamond? This is like caliber gold. It's 24 karat gold. I'm giving these swine don't understand. The pigs don't understand. And God is like, my dude, like, that's a pig. That's a pig. Do you understand? That's a pig. Some of you have given in to this new age and oversensitive philosophy. We're all the same. We're all one. No, we're all unique. Okay, we all have gifts that we can teach and love and learn each other. That's why we should treat each other the way we want to be treated, to honor our differences. So the scales are falling. Okay, you're realizing, and for many of you over the next 6 months, especially over the next 2 weeks, I want you to comment an exclamation mark if you've been feeling like a subconscious weights have just been releasing. Subconscious weights have just been releasing when you've been realizing that you've been triggering yourself or responding to things you don't even have to really deal with, right? Or you don't have to necessarily be defensive about. Biggest case in point, many of you are realizing that you don't have to necessarily defend or prove your gifts Okay. And a lot of imposter syndrome, a lot of weights of imposter syndrome are releasing because not a lot of people made it through. It's ironic. The people who were narcissistic and felt they were better than others didn't make it past the testing and their true nature was revealed. And then the people who actually had humility and integrity, y'all all suffered with imposter syndrome. It's crazy how that works. But these subconscious weights are so important because the major facet of this is you moving forward, not having to once again prove your gifts and not having to clear up rumors. Here's a prophecy. You're going to go through this social collective sphere through the 6 months. And all the rumors and all the stuff that people said about you to other people that hasn't been cleared up, you're not the one who's going to clear it up. You're not the one who's going to be like, okay, this person said this about, you're just going to move in alignment with who you are. And these scales are going to continue to drop. So that's the biggest. I want you to see this opposition in Neptune coming into the conjunction 6 months from now into it as a complete releasing of the scales. If anyone just joined us right now, the most important thing you want to really understand is that coming into the end of Virgo season, which represents the real critical social environmental awareness of analysis and how your behavior influences your relationships with others, we're integrating these changes into our behaviors into now presenting our classic superhero or super selves through Libra. The practice we're now presenting through Libra. Over the next 6 months, that will represent the harvest and completion of everything you've done from Aries to Virgo. Not only are the scales dropping and releasing, the challenge level is going to increase, but your mastery is going to match everything that you've sowed. Let me put it from Aries to Virgo, you sowed. From Libra to Pisces, you reap. And we do it all over again every year. So the opposition to Neptune is a disillusionment process where people all over the world realize where they got you fucked up. And I am not even joking. Some people actually are not buried with pride and prejudice and will have the heart to apologize to you for this. But we don't live in a perfect world. So don't hold your breath. What will happen regardless is the scales are going to be falling from people's eyes. Okay? Just like they fell from Saul and he became Paul. The scales are going to be falling from people's eyes and they're going to incrementally day by day because these things don't just happen at once. The state of your relationship with most of these people, which is reinforced negative patterns and belief systems about you that aren't even true to who you are, did not happen overnight. Just like the scales falling will not happen overnight. So it's funny, like all you're doing is aligning to your true self and living that out in your behavior. But this is, of course, causing the scales to fall from people who realistically committed themselves to seeing a version of you that is not you, but the version of you that exists in their beliefs about who you should be. A lot of people haven't broken through into acceptance. They're still caught up into this philosophical drivel of changing people or putting people in a box of their own world because they're stupid. But other than that, what's very important is the real disillusionment of the integration of everything you've been living so that the themes and the gifts and the abilities you've been expressing hit these people in harder ways that has never hit them before. And I want to be very careful about what I'm saying because the purpose of this isn't about they're finally going to get it now. That's not what it's about at all. I'm just letting you know you're making it rain synchronicities. You're practicing what you preach. So the only thing that's happening now is that the receipts you've been building up on are just avalanching and overflowing. This doesn't mean that the people whose scales drop from their eyes are going to like you anymore. most, if not all of these people are just going to develop more advanced qualities of denial. And that has nothing to do with you as much as their response and karma. Their karma is how they respond. So that's what it is. Versus some people who are actually awakened by it because of your consistency. All right. Once again, what you have sowed is what you're going to reap. So the most important thing about this is many people's extreme sensibilities may have caused them to ascribe very weird and very strange attributes to you that really impinged on the quality of relationship or connection and speed of which certain things should or could have happened. And now, as these things are disillusioned, they really are just more aware of the time they lost. It's no time you really lost. As a fountain of magic, that you have these gifts, the opportunity cost of them projecting this towards you was that the time that they could have spent being nourished and growing from it, they chose to do something else. So it's really their decision whether to take advantage of this time, and your decision whether to, if you think they're still worthy or not. And once again, such complex social relationship dynamics like this happening is one thing, but for them to happen instantly at once, with relatively within a 2-week period, quicker than your brain can process, is going to be really, 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 really a lot to process for most people. Others of you who are like super petty like me, this is going to be a field day. You're going to, oh my gosh, you're going to enjoy yourselves. So, yeah, before we really go into this Virgo season, I want to say congratulations. All right. Once again, like, there's so much leverage that many people are going to realize they don't have with you that they thought they had with you. Certain situations are literally going to flip. This is characteristic of this mutable square, where everything relevant is in a changeable sign. So we're going to go back in time. What's very characteristic right now is that we have this opposition. So it's very key because 6 months ago, we started a new Neptune cycle. We started a brand new Neptune cycle with the Sun conjunction to Neptune and Pisces. And by golly, do you know what else was there? I might as well show you. I can't just tell you. Given the 6-month manifestation cycle, we know that we had the Sun with Neptune and Jupiter. In fact, as you can see, this is the full moon. So we had the full moon 23 degrees with a straight opposition. And the reason why I have to reference that, and the reason why I attributed this as one of the biggest deals ever, if you go back to the transit talks around this time, it was, I consider this as one of the most iconic transits. I may have not used these words, but it was so quintessentially important. The supernaturally divine expansion of your belief and brain's ability with Mercury here to process the sum total of metaphysical and supernatural experiences ushered in a cycle where you were prepared to believe in aspects of yourself you weren't ready to believe in back then. Imagine being told that, you know what, you are the leader of an entire galaxy. There is a cognizant and advanced galaxy not far from you that you are the ruler of. And you've been seeing synchronicities of this. And ever since Neptune went into Pisces 2012, you've had to slowly but surely accept and awaken to the concept that you could even be the ruler of a galaxy. You still probably might have been struggling with certain elements of just being in your own neighborhood. versus now realizing that it's your destiny to rule this galaxy. And now the new moon or full moon in Pisces, 12th house to Aries, signifying spiritual beliefs that influence how you identify yourself, is expanding so that you're being told you can rule a galaxy. And at first, struggles come through, and it's like, I am afraid to do public speaking in my community town hall. It's very hard for me to believe that I am the space ruler of a galaxy and all the planets and solar systems I rule. And it's very important because fast forward to now, you have completed your ability to believe in this. Before we do this again, because it's not the first time we've done this, Neptune is still going to be in Pisces for 3 years. So we're going to come back again in 6 months and conjunct it, and we're going to do it again. But this was the only time that Jupiter was here, creating the mass expansion and peak. All right. Meaning that this completion we're going through right now is having us be aware of the most growth we've had in all of these successive cycles we've had since 10 years ago when we started 2012. Am I going in or am I going in? I'm going in. You're going to be able to watch this 10 years from now like, damn, he went in. All right. This is important because I had to say all of that to say this. Aspect like this with Saturn that's also reinforcing this evolution of your beliefs with critical knowledge to support what you're imagining, okay, and Uranus and Taurus to enhance the extra dimensional quality of your senses, extra dimensional quality pertaining to your ability for your senses to sense extra dimensionally, to smell someone's fart from a room away or another dimension, to hear somebody talking shit about you miles away, to see somebody and a vision of somebody about to get smacked in the face by you. These clairs, these are expressions of Uranian grounded Taurian energies that interweave the supernatural nature of the overlapped fifth dimensional imagination so that your senses can sense them like virtual reality. I just broke down the astrological science of virtual reality for you. If you think of augmented reality, where you put on goggles and you now have to simulate the senses of an imaginary world that you're playing in while being here, the original virtual reality was imagination. Before smartphones, many of you kids that went outside the house like me, that was all we had before we had these video games. We had the original virtual reality. And back then, before we came of age and developed our psychic abilities, we were pure in element versus now with mature cognitive input output processing signals that with Uranus and Taurus, everything you imagine with Neptune and Pisces makes hyper real the existential nature of what you sense overlapped with 5D to 3D. Okay. This conjunction with all this Pisces magic is now the quintessential collective breakthrough into accepting this phenomena as more than a concept, as something that is not just science fiction, as something that is not just fantasy, but the continuation of everything your ancient ancestors have engineered before evil space aliens genetically engineered several sects and races of people to fuck shit up for all the rest of us good souls out here. I want to remind you that this is not a race war. This is a soul war. It's evil souls versus pure souls. Evil souls of all sorts of nationalities versus pure souls of all nationalities. Shout out to the Pure Soul Click, God Squad, Infinity Club, $1 Billion Vibe Tribe. We out here. So the reason why this is so very important is the most important part of this revolution is you. Imagine a collective wide revolution where every single person on the planet is awakening unique superpowers, and government intelligence agencies 20 to 30 years in advance have been aware of this through indigo and crystal children and have had to use entertainment industrial complexes to actually distract masses of people while they run experiments for higher extra dimensional entities so that they can figure and plan out how to harvest and exploit the awakening of your own genetic potential, so that they can also simultaneously gaslight those of you who use your abilities to help wake up other people out of this sinister plotted matrix. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. Everything that I said to you, you have your own unique perspective of. You've met people in your real life who have gifts of their own, Kirks that are awakening. And the reason why I really want to express the quintessential unique importance of this specific element of the cycle is that relative to 2010, when Jupiter was in the old Jupiter cycle, I'm telling you, we don't have to go back in time, guys. Okay, if we go back 9 years, where we see Jupiter in Gemini when the Zeitgeist came out, and people started to explode, and oh my gosh, like the Mayan calendar is ending, and everyone started to get enlightened to the fact that the world is about to end soon. This was the beginning of this Jupiter cycle, and the reason why it's important is this brought in the end of social interaction and the preparation of social distancing at the end of the Jupiter cycle coming into 2019, where Jupiter was in Sagittarius. So the reason why this is key is Neptune coming into Pisces and Pluto coming into Capricorn represented the final airing of a season series show that your great grandparents watched, your grandparents watched them, your mama watched them, your uncles and your aunts watched them, and now you're watching them, and in your lifetime you're seeing this entire season series that your entire family and generations watched end. It's a huge deal. That's the significance of this cycle right here. We're coming at the end, and you're stepping into the precipice of collective change that's going to catapult, especially you chosen ones, into leading the world. And this is where you're the revolution of the individual. This is coming and coinciding with the collapse of infrastructure and authority. And so there are designated leaders who are meant to use their gifts to teach people who are going to want to understand why supernatural events are happening around them. Thank God you've been 10 years in the game, and you could be like, oh, you're seeing master numbers? Are you seeing 222? And they're going to be like, how the hell did you know that I just saw 222? And you're going to be like, don't worry. I've been there. And you're going to adapt in the moment, because many of you are like, what do I do to prepare for the end of the world? What do I do to prepare for the end of the world? What do you think you've been doing? What the heck do you think you've been doing for the past 20 years? You think you've just been bullshitting? If you're asking that question, it's because you're giving in to the pre-designated systematic trap that convinces you to believe that everything you need is outside of yourself. Everything you need is actually inside of yourself. So when shit hits the fan and the world is ending and resources go to shit, you have everything you need right now. You have to adapt to the situation. And it's you adapting to the situation that will remind you, you got the resources, you have celestial support, you have people real, and it's going to test if you about it or not. So many of you are accepting that more have to worry about messing with you than you have to worry about anything, okay? And what is so very profound here, thank you, Lestar, is that you have put in such considerable work to get to this 2022 point, only for Jupiter to break through into Aries, and you already start to see a sneak peek of how amazing you're evolving your identity. And it's a lot for some of you. It's a lot. There's certain powers that some of you have that you used and you just keep it in the drawer because it's a lot for you. Go ahead and take it out the drawer, my friend. Go ahead and take it out the drawer. Don't just keep it in there. You weren't given this gift to keep it in there. Some of you are afraid and you're keeping it in the drawer because it's like you don't want to be that person that leaps and does it first before anyone else. What do you think you got it for? Like that, you know what I'm saying? So like, come in and take it out the drawer. And I just want to say how this breakthrough into believing that you're ready to step into a greater aspect of what you can do. Remember, this conjunction is basically stepping you into the door of utilizing the highest level of your supernatural abilities, especially in tandem of all your lifetimes and ancestries, regular in life. Okay, so the 6 months that have passed from now have put you in a position to finally break through and exist as now creating this into your lifestyle. Okay. The reason why this is important is whereas Pisces to Virgo will take a belief and bring it into your behavior, Gemini will take the communication of this to Sag and bring it into your vision. That's the cross. That's the magic cross. So now that we've broken through into creating this into our reality, the magic Virgo Pisces portal, this is the road to Sagittarius where we're going to manifest this into our Capricorn reality, but also where we're going to see the effects of this new magic lifestyle. Okay. You are on the precipice of creating a lifestyle in which you use your supernatural abilities to do everything that you do. And by the time we step into December and Jupiter is getting ready to come out of Pisces and back into Aries, you are going to be seeing this life. The process from Libra, Scorpio, and Sag is the breakthrough arc. Welcome to the preparation of the breakthrough arc, which is the rest of Virgo season, where all the details that you are finishing up to learn are coming in with very ridiculous Mercury retrograde coming into Cazimi clarity. And it's just going to shock you how brilliant you are and how the doubt you've had towards yourself was never really yours. It was really just the voice of you know, that you've allowed to accept in from opposing forces that just don't wish to accept what you bring to the equation, which rightfully so, because it threatens their fake ass lives. Okay. Oh, there's so much to say. There's so much to say. And I'm not trying to really like preach a sermon. The main message of what I want to get to you is this. First of all, this major twist that's happening is a major disillusionment on how everyone is going to change the way they look at everything about you. And this is where Libra is balance. When we think about the concept of balance, when you balance a checkbook, all the debts that you have, if you think about karma, that's Capricorn. What does Capricorn square Libra? Balance. So all the karmic debts that you have to be balanced so that your debts reach what? 0, and everything is balanced. Okay. All the imbalance of everything, illusions, lies, prejudice, pride, closed-mindedness that has been projected towards you, that has not allowed other people to see you as you are, is all being balanced coming into the rest of this Virgo season and actively being reinforced through Libra based on the actions you take to reinforce this behavior you are maintaining, so that people are literally forced to see you as you are. Whether they decide to revert into denial or accept this rude awakening is up to them. And there's a militant approach, especially with Chiron and Aries and the opposition and square series, which reflect pressure cookers, oppositions. We know this is true just based on the last 2 years and rhetoric narratives in society where people are a lot more fed up and openly arguing. And that's because most people may not have yet accepted we're headed into full-scale war. Okay, even the nature of this war is not going to be what you think it is. A lot of this is influenced by the narratives that tell you how you're supposed to think. None of that bullshit is true. They sprinkle it with half truths and inconclusive research. If you put yourself in their shoes, they kind of have to do this. They're terrified. There's millions upon millions of human beings, or there's millions upon millions of souls who are waking up rapidly beyond their control to really control anymore. So they have to go overboard with censorship and narratives because they're in a unique position they've never really been in. Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci accidentally awakened so many people. You know what I'm saying? So, they also got away with some evil shit, but like, without my beliefs getting into this, I definitely want to make sure we illustrate that what you are mastering in this transit, especially with opposition, is the 6 months of work you've done to get here. So it's not just happening from nowhere, okay? And all the work you have done has already spoken for itself. So this is where moving forward, coming back into March, where we're going to do it all over again and put in the work to sow from March to September, right? Aries to Virgo. You just have to show up for everything you've done. You just have to show up for everything you're building moving forward. Okay. So that being said, the moon in Gemini is having you understand the very complex and deeper truth with Mars as an activation, okay, to step more into the utilization of these supernatural abilities than ever. As we begin this, what mutable sign seasons are meant to do, okay, is to change your perspective. We have 4 seasons. Every season has 3 states and 3 signs. If you think of a season as a narrative plot or a movie where Leo is the lead role and Libra is the supporting role character, and Aries may or may not be the villain, and Gemini is comic relief, and Sagittarius is the wild card, then each season has a beginning, middle, and end. The beginning of the season is the cardinals: Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. The middle of the season is Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. This is usually where we come into the climax. And then the end of the season, where we gain closure to change so we get to the next season, is Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces. You gotta say Pisces. My bad, you don't have to say that. Pisces. Okay, so we just did Gemini, and I can't really express how paramount Gemini is and was to this development with Jupiter coming out of Pisces, okay? Because that prepared our minds to develop the attitude needed to perfect this behavior we're perfecting now. And the moon in Gemini is helping you understand, in retrospect, everything you've learned 3 months ago to move forward with, okay? So, Virgo is the end of the integration arc. We have 4 seasons once again, 3 states, beginning, middle, and end. And it's so very important to understand the sequence and science between why we have to have beginning, middle, and end. If we don't have a beginning, this is just going to stay here. But if we have the beginning of the season, if we just have an Aries just kick open the door and just break it, and it's like, damn, what the heck is wrong with you? That provides motion, albeit inertia. And so we start the season off in a direction to generate what? Energy. Power generates energy. Cardinal signs, power. Manifest, fixed signs, energy. Okay? Values, strength. So we strengthen the actions in the middle of the season and then the strength and energy produces an effect. We now come into a perspective shift. All right. And relative to this perspective shift, this changes our perception and adjusts this so that once we end the season, we can start the next season in the right and proper direction. Okay. This is why cardinal signs, as much as I hate to admit it, are always right. You ever see a Libra talk slick? You ever see a Cancer talk slick and a Capricorn talk slick? Like, I'm always right. I'm always right. That's because Cancer is 90 degrees. Like, they're right. Like, Libra is 180 degrees. They're right. Like, it pisses me off too. Like, and they know they're right. They know they're right. They'll be talking. There's a slick. They'll talk because that's their power. Like, everyone has something. Like, mutable signs have magic. Cardinal signs have power. Okay, so in order to move in the right direction, you need to have the right perception. Because if I am supposed to go here and I perceive I'm supposed to go there, then I'm going in the wrong direction. So at the end of every season, okay, you come into a period where you reflect, and the purpose of this through the quarter squares, through the new moon, the first quarter square, and the full moon and third quarter square, it adjusts your perception so you're moving in the right direction. Cardinal sign season. Fixed, adjust, cardinal sign season. Okay? Boom. This one thing I told you, if you just do that, you could be a master of astrology. If you just take that one concept that I told you, right? Just the cardinal fixed mutable, and you just play with that concept, you could become an astro whiz overnight. You can start to see this in every aspect of your reality and how energy expresses itself. I'm biased because my son is in a mutable sign. Shout out to Gemini. But the mutable sign season here is crucial because we're breaking out the individuality of the first 6 signs and we're bridging into the social dynamics of the last 6 signs through Libra. Okay, this balance is a reset to make sure you're ready to present in this presentation everything you've practiced and built up. Literally, Aries to Cancer is you waking up in the morning and taking a shower and brushing your teeth. And then Leo to Virgo is getting ready, eating your breakfast, and going to school or going to work more specifically. And then Libra is actually presenting your work to the accomplishment of that work in Capricorn. And then after that, you come back home to Cancer all over again. You come back around. So in Virgo, changing and adjusting your perception to prepare you to present this socially to others, this is some of the realest change we're coming into. And this is where, if we break this down, the first season of every year, Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, relative to the space clock, is the activation season. We have the activation season. The activation season. We spark fire in Aries. We sustain the natural quality of grapes that we turn into fine wine in Taurus. Then we exit Plato's cave, sustain a merchant system, and start to advertise for our fine wine and talk about it to people in Gemini. Like, you know, this is the best wine ever, right? You know, this is the best wine ever, right? You know, this is some good wine. Then you have Virgo that squares Gemini, which is the Yelp, the critic that's like, hey, you know how that person said that it's the best wine? It's actually trash. Yeah, it's actually bootleg wine. Or this wine is not that bad. We're now looking at the individual Gemini square the social Virgo, where you now have social critiques about one's individual thoughts. Like, yeah, the dude has to be delusional. It's the shittiest wine I've ever drank in my life. I don't know why he's saying it's the best. Versus, oh wow, you know what? He did practice what he preached. It's a really good wine. Like, there you go. That's how we take the Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and are you ready? Integrate it socially in Virgo before you present it to Libra. And you're like, hey, this is the best wine ever. Ask Virgo. My reviews are straight. Like, I'm nice. You want some? Psh, psh. And then you're like, I'm Jesus. I'll just turn this water on. But what's key here, once again, is everything you activate in the activation season is integrated in the integration season. Cancer, Leo, Virgo. Before we get into season 3 and 4, which is easily the climax, you got to put in the work season 1 and 2. A lot of people try and skip the steps season 1 and 2, especially because of summer where we have fun. We can kind of forget that that's the most important point to kind of integrate everything, because fall is where we break through into Libra, Scorpio, and Sag, the ascending peak. We break through transformation of Scorpio, and then we have the conclusion arc, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, and we start all over again. So in order to really get an idea of what arcs are usually going to be the most epic, we can look at the outer planets, okay? And the outer planets that are primarily in the conclusion arc really make the winter years not only serious, but because the winter years oppose the summer years, we deal with the effects of the winter years in the summer. Okay, that was super vague, but it's just an idea to give you how to look at the cycles. All right, and what's very key here is relative to this year, the Pisces season we had ended the previous conclusion arc before we activated this conjunction in Pisces. Well, now we're at the conclusion of the integration arc. The conclusion of the integration arc, in my opinion, is one of the most important arcs of any season because we're integrating everything we activated relative to that year. And we've had a very special successive series of activations, especially since 2010. And so you want to see this integration as the last of 3 pertinent, very important integrations here. Okay, that's not only going to bring together everything. If you think that Pisces is the interrelated connectivity of everything that constitutes this microphone, Virgo is the individual parts of every part of this microphone. So if you take this apart, if you take this apart, if you take all these parts apart into each individual part, that's Virgo. It's literally everything. Oh, I feel like this analogy is going to wash over your soul and make so much sense. Oh my God, this is it. I feel it. So like right now, you are on the precipice of now taking all these individual parts and putting them together so that once we come 6 months from now into Pisces season again, whereas we had Jupiter in Pisces, now Jupiter will be in Aries and Pluto will be getting ready to go into Aquarius, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Does that make sense? So by this period, you will have put together all the pieces that right now in Virgo you have set. The reason why I love this analogy is, okay, relative to Aries season, right? Relative to Aries season of this year. Aries, and this website is astroseek.com. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, where you bringing the individual facets of these components. But guess what? Jupiter is in Aries this year, and Jupiter was in Aries last year. So when The sun went into Taurus, and you are now getting the pieces. Think about this. Virgo is where we have all the individual pieces, right? Well, Taurus represents the physical nature of these pieces, right? Before you take all of them in Virgo and begin to put them together. So when we were in Taurus season this year, Jupiter actually went into Aries. As you can see, while we were getting the pieces, Jupiter went in Aries. And the reason why that's very significant is the nature of the pieces you are putting together were advanced. So let's say you're usually putting together every year like the same device that you use to express yourself. Now the quality of the pieces you've been putting together are advanced. So ever since March, you're now experimenting with new beliefs. Now you have so much higher quality in the pieces you're putting together. And now we're in Virgo season, right? And you're getting ready to put it all together over the next 6 months. In fact, we can say Virgo season is where you put it all together, and then you take the complete portion of that and you present it. You're getting ready to present it over the next 6 months. Or you can see that you put it all over together 6 months and it's complete in Pisces, okay? Or you can look at it as both. So with that being said, something to really keep in mind relative to that in retrospect is with the trine to Pluto and with the trine to Uranus, you want to see that as earth anchors that's allowing through the beam of the sun the invisible nature of Neptune to literally bring into reality all the supernatural quality of your own gifts. Guess how? Through your behavior. And what the moon in Gemini doing is having you understand the truth of exactly how to do that. And as we finish this cycle, that's exactly what you're going to do. So just allow yourself to be guided through. Every detail that you don't understand will be unfolded for you. Hence the whole notion of this balsamic like phase. Okay. So if we once again go back to the beginning of Virgo season, where we had the new moon, the purpose of this Virgo season was to bring out this major twist in changing the way people really see you, because now you've brought receipts. This is where I'm going to go over the general nature of this Virgo season. If any of you would like a specialized transit, please look at the description box below. If you look at the description box below, you will see that I am offering live readings with Super Chat, Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo for the Virgo transit. If you would like a very specific understanding of what Virgo has helped you twist and changing your perspective relative to your transits, $40 minimum. Please send me your sun, moon, or rising, or email me your chart, and I'll look it up in your chart, okay? Other than that, as we go back here, I want you to see, of course, if we look at a month ago, we did have, coming out of Leo season, the whole notion of stepping into Virgo, especially with the new moon. So this new moon cycle was very important because the key aspect here with Virgo is you are bringing into reality a new behavior, a new lifestyle, a new technique. Because of such major awakenings with 2021 and 2020, you have brought in new hardware, new operating systems, and now 2022 is having you upload enhanced software that can play with updated operating systems. In that, some of you had Windows XP, and until Saturn and Jupiter went through Aquarius 2021, you weren't able to run Windows 10 programs, or you were dealing with people who couldn't run your Windows 10 programs. Now all that's updated. And now Virgo season is putting all this together. So you're going to really experience this coming into the end of the season, stepping into Libra where you're presented. The reason why this is key is this new moon in Virgo began the process of completing the Jupiter, Pisces, Neptune software update. And so, whereas the new moon in Virgo helped bring in for most of you the iOS or Windows fuck it jailbreak with the Uranus and Taurus trine, this breakthrough in the Capricorn is breaking through the physical, tangible reality of the physical actions that induce the supernatural causality. It's a fancy way of saying that this trine that I'm about to show you right now as we speak is facilitating the breakthrough of you bringing into reality superpowers. Superpowers, okay? Not that you haven't been using superpowers, but that the efficiency and mastery of your ability to utilize them are stepping into literally the next level before you go through another cycle of evolution. And so this is why I need to bring into play the full moon. The first quarter square and full moon was very crucial. The first quarter square with the moon in Sagittarius was what was necessary to put you in a position to start to see the underlying meaning of what in your behavior was beginning to change. This was what had to show you that certain elements about beliefs you have about your superpowers aren't just delusional beliefs. They have credence in reality. This is taking the facts and the synchronicities you see, and it enabled you to actually see into the meaning of why you were experiencing it. Going into Capricorn, awakening and understanding of timing inducing causality. And so the full moon in Pisces completed the actual belief in these new behaviors so that you can fundamentally change your entire world, or rather, your entire life. Think back to a week ago, because a week ago is when we had the moon in Pisces. And the most important part about the moon in Gemini right now is that this is completing the moon in Sagittarius. So the moon in Sagittarius was the breakthrough of a new technique. And the best way I want to really explain this is that if Gemini season, right, if new moon in Pisces was you believing and wishing, I want to learn magic. And then Gemini season is you going to Hogwarts for the first time and you're learning magic spells, which break you out of the old stigma of magic not existing because now you're actually doing magic spells. Right now in Virgo season, you are mastering certain techniques that take different magical abilities in order to integrate with practical elements of your lifestyle. And so the moon in Sagittarius that took the seeds of new behavioral changes in how you physically act in your social environment to take these abstract beliefs around supernatural shit you can do, but like actually do them for real. The moon in Sagittarius started to show you, hey, it's not really just in your head, my G. You're actually doing it, B. Let me show you more what you need to practice to perfect it. The full moon in Pisces completed the technique to change your belief, where if you didn't believe it was possible, well, you did it 5 times in a row. So you believe it's possible now. And this is the most important part. The moon in Sagittarius 2 weeks ago that took the new moon seeds of putting in work to birth a new technique that broke those seeds out to the ground in the moon in Sag that showed you what's possible. The moon in Gemini is now completing this by calling it what it is. Now you're like, okay, I've completed this. I've now harvested these seeds last week in Pisces. And now the moon in Gemini is completing how I was beginning to see what's possible with this is what it's called, baby. So 2 weeks ago, you were doing this technique and it's like, oh, this actually works. Versus now you're like, this technique is called I does it. This technique is called I did it again, biznatch. I did it again, biatch. And I realized that in experimenting the completion of the technique, when I say I did it again, it works. But when I put in that Gemini Mars attitude, I did it again, biatch, it works. And now the sun in Virgo is the analytical clash with experimentation. The moon in Gemini is squaring the sun in Virgo so that you have the impetus of conflict to change anything about your analysis that is not aligned with truth. And so Virgo sun is like, okay, I said I did it again and it happened again. But then I said I did it again, biatch. And the way that it happened again was so much more pronounced from when I said it the first time. What I'm going to do now is say, I did it again, biatch, and see if maybe saying biatch longer makes the effects more. And now this is where you have to actually be active in your analysis, Virgo, with the experimentation of Gemini to prepare to end the balsamic phase so that you present these findings in Libra. Let's get it. The coolest thing is that this isn't the first time you're doing this. We did this 2012, we did this 2013, we did this 2014, we did this 2015, we did this 2016. It just didn't really get fun until we did it 2017 when Jupiter actually went into Libra and Scorpio, and then you started to see so much get exposed and you started to realize, oh wow, so all this stuff I did up until this point really wasn't for nothing. This is actually leading into something. You started to see it 2019, and then boom, 2020, everything reset, but it awakened the protocol to the advanced hardware that is your higher self that you begin to awaken and wears your clothes. Fast forward to 2022, where you are quintessentially transcending out of the old world model of logic, of logical methods, okay, and stepping into a more advanced logical process. The Neptune opposition in you understanding what to call this technique. Does it make sense that the 10th house of a transit is the completion of it? So the 10th house of a new behavior in Virgo is a new attitude, a new way to call it. The completion of this technique is going to, the completion of the technique is going to disillusion any doubts, hence the Neptune opposition. So do you know what this means? Neptune opposite the sun, trine Pluto, trine Uranus square the moon means your whole life you have doubted that you can levitate. I mean, you believe you can levitate, but you never levitated. So there's subconscious doubt in your critical mind, the same critical mind that when you dream, the way your critical mind functions is that it has to convince you that you're not dreaming or dreaming. So like you can practice your critical mind to wake you up in your dream, where your critical mind will rationalize, oh yeah, it's totally normal that this horse is driving my Uber because that's just normal. And you have to train your critical mind to be like, no, motherfucker, that's not normal. I'm in a dream. Your critical mind will go out of its way to rationalize irrational elements of your dream just so you stay dreaming, okay? In this real life, the critical mind will call bullshit in its inability to process certain facets. And this is being expressly overridden. And in the nature of how this is being overridden, it is transcending the function with which you realize you could always levitate. You just had to build the muscles psychologically, spiritually, and mentally to do so. And then you're breaking into the practical function of the unconventional nature of this, which is breaking you through into more innovation in your practical experience than you've ever had, because we've never really had Uranus trine Pluto, trine Virgo energy. So this hyper accelerates with Jupiter opposite Mercury, your ability to communicate these aspects of your super self. And it should feel uncomfortable at first. Some of you may feel uncomfortable stepping into these new clothes. Some of you may have been made to, some of you might be Cinderella stepping into the queen, and you're so used to being belittled by your family that now stepping into your queen role and commanding those same people who commanded you may feel uncomfortable. It's supposed to feel uncomfortable. Look, Chiron's in Aries, so embrace the uncomfort and put these people in their place. Now, what's really, really, really key here is this sense of freedom is going to liberate so many of you, because this is the point of integration and breakthrough through Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius, where you will most definitely break through into a hyper unique supernatural expression of your abilities, like lighting fire from your palms, like levitating. And now here's the best thing. You've already done this before. Many of you have already done this multiple times before. Many of you 10, 20, 15 years ago, you didn't have the skills you had now. You had to learn them. Supernatural abilities. Some of you literally can know when someone is going to call you. Some of you can literally dream something into existence. Some of you have manifestation abilities that at this point you can practically replicate at least 80% of the time, which is remarkable because you're going to make that shift from 80% to 100 over the next 6 months. So you couldn't do that before. Okay. Some of you have given people the most life-changing, phenomenal tarot readings, okay, or intuitive readings. And when you started to do this, you were told that it's impossible. You were told that it's impossible to be the skateboard champion in your town at your age. You were told that it's a waste of your time to pursue your dreams the way you're pursuing. You just did it anyway and proved them wrong, because that's just what you do. And this is not really much different. It's just happening at the final level before we step into the end of the world, where you're going to take this revolutionary breakthrough of transcendence and bring it into a new heaven and new earth, where all of the splendiferous, infinite quality of magic and brilliance within you, you contribute into creating new concepts and this new society that's going to take over elements, once again, of this new existence. And that's so very revolutionary. And it makes you watching this so very important, because as much as dark forces around you want to belittle your existence and make you feel insignificant, every authentic, unique piece of your true self is priceless in what it contributes to the collective. I'm talking about abilities that you don't even think are that important, are exponentially more than important. So with that being said, that is more so or less the gist of what I want to express. This understanding of what to call your technique is going to be completed in how wholesome you feel in breaking this through the moon in Cancer. This is where we now take the harvest of the 10th house, where it's like, okay, after we spent a week harvesting from full moon to third quarter square, the third quarter square in the 10th house is when we realize, okay, we've harvested 10 barrels of crops. This is where 10th house lets you know accomplishments. We can measure this to last harvest. Last harvest, we got 8 to 9 barrels of crops. Now we got 10. We can celebrate. The 11th house is where it's now, okay, you get 5 barrels. Remember, it's associates, it's friends. It's also rewards from career. It's gross income. You get 3 barrels. Hey, you my dude. You get 2 barrels. You put in some work. You get 5 barrels. I'll take the rest. You know what I'm saying? That comes to my second house. So the 11th house is where we now, after we give away the barrels, guess what? We're done with the harvest. We have the balsamic phase. The balsamic phase is where, of course, we're going to have the field being cleared. And the field will be cleared so that we step into the new moon in Libra and we plant new seeds. By the time we're planting new seeds here, we're in a position to realistically break through the presentation of the mastery of this transcendent nature of our behavior towards other people who will balance and draw out the classic nature of our character. And I think it's gonna be really fun. Okay. Thank you so much. Amen. Thank you so much, Forest Fairy Tarot. By the way, she was the amazing goddess who gifted me my Pokemon deck. Thank you very much. So, yeah, y'all. I feel like I'm not saying enough because I just want to make sure I break down quite clear that the you've always been subtly using superpowers, but the quality with which you're going to be using it now is so exaggerated that it's going to fundamentally change the way you live your life and replace everything you do as a part of your habits with superpowered habits, with supernatural ways to think, with ways to augment meditation and microdose meditation in your day-to-day for amazing results. Okay. And this is where now coming into the moon in Cancer is going to bring this all together. The moon in Leo and moon in Virgo is a double balsamic phase because the sun will go into leave Virgo, and then when it's in Libra, the moon will go into Virgo. So the balsamic phase, okay, when the moon is in Virgo, opposite Neptune, is the full transcendence and release. If you think the new moon in Virgo was when you created the new technique. Let's say I created a brand new technique that I can basically reset my magic that there. I have a new technique to where after I do this technique, I get like on average $5,000. Okay. And the technique involves certain skills I learned in Gemini that I'm putting together. So the moon's in Gemini, and I just realized that I can call the technique what it truly is, the hyper manifestation technique. And I'm realizing I can tweak this hyper manifestation technique to where I can influence the amount I manifest. Now, whereas I started the new moon 3 years ago, and I was like, okay, I'm going to create this new technique. Because I'm creating this new technique where I can hyper manifest, the way I behave is different. Now I don't necessarily have to work a job because my whole life has changed. Now I can hyper manifest any amount that I want in that moment. And I have to do a different work for a different result. And so whereas I'm starting off 2 weeks later, completing that because now I've completed the technique, now I know what to call it. Once the moon comes back into Virgo while the sun is in Libra, I am now transcending the old habits that I had. Now when I'm dealing with other people, the moon in Libra is now I'm dealing with other people. And the moon in Virgo means whereas before I would respond as the person who didn't master this technique. Now I'm responding as the person who, hyper manifestation. How much do you guys need? It has now transcended how I balance myself with other people. Boom, we step into the new cycle Libra season. I feel like some of you got that word. Please run with that. All right. So we're going to close out this talk here. The rest of the week is going to have you tweak and complete this mastery. Like I said, instead of the classic format where I kind of go down the major transits and the signs, I'm going to return that Libra season. But really, I just want you to stay receptive for the rest of this Virgo season, because the climax of the sun leaving Virgo is going to be met with a very powerfully profound and considerable element of revealing crucial, keen details that will pretty much complete your understanding of how to achieve the impossible, only for you to be disillusioned and realize that you have been doing this every moment of your life. So you're going to uplift out of the need to learn how to do something new and change the way you perceive what you've always been doing, because the truth is you are a magical being. Okay. And I'm so grateful to hear this, because I was worried that not necessarily having that classic format might throw things off, but I really just vibed with y'all. I think this is just such an important message to get out. And I'm once again very glad that we were able to get that out. So, that being said, Mang Kong, okay, I got your PayPal and I am awaiting. Oh, I got your birth chart too. So I'm going to do yours first, and then Jen Fitzgerald, I got your chart, and I'm gonna do yours right after. It's good to know you got the Virgo. So for those of you who would like a live reading, I'm gonna do that right quick, and then I'm out. All right. Thank you guys so much. Please feel free to comment your testimonials in the comments or here. This message is really more so an update at the end of the harvest. You've done the Aries to Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Virgo, Libra, to Leo, Virgo work. It's time to harvest it. It's going to get more challenging, but you're going to get stronger. Okay. And congratulations. I want you to look forward to really stepping into the classic definition of how uniquely amazing you are. And even now, like as soon as you end this broadcast, you're going to complete your Moon and Gemini understanding of what to call this technique and how to move forward and practically utilize it. And it's going to feel so good, because it's like, wow, like I have my own unique superpower and technique that I've been using, and new techniques to supplement this that literally increase the quality of my lifestyle. Anyway, Mang Kong, thank you very much. We do see that you got a Cancer rising, you got Moon in Cancer, and you have your Sun 0 degrees Pisces. Oh my goodness. Shout out to Gina Valentina. She has a chart just like this, and she's freaking amazing. So this is really interesting, except you are born with Neptune in Cap. So you're born in the 80s, the late 80s, which is super awesome. I want to kind of give you props for having Saturn and Uranus in Sagittarius. Saturn and Uranus in Sagittarius is so amazing. Andrew Tate has his son here, and he kind of fucked up the internet just because y'all, all of y'all with that, every single one of y'all with that, have protocols to bust the system. Like you can literally create systems that innovate people out of their stuck worlds, and you deprogram brainwashed individuals by showing them out. And as a Cancer rising, you're meant to apply this innovative, amazing ascended quality in the way you help uplift people out of their own lifestyles. You literally are a pimp of people's lifestyles. And Mars here can also add a lot of sexual power and mastery to the way you would adventurously express this through athletics. But to see that you have your MC in Pisces with the Sun and Mercury means that Jupiter, which returned for you 2021, evolved the quality of your philosophy. And your MC in Pisces means you went through career evolution from, of course, January to March. So the new moon that we had 6 months ago literally evolved your career and puts you in a new cycle of evolution for your career that completed, guess what? Right now. And not only has it completed right now, the beliefs and the new lessons you learned as a part of this career to teach, you have now mastered the skills, or that you've mastered the skills in Virgo to start to teach to other people, to show to other people for real. And you're now radically materializing the reality of what this career success looks like, so that over the next year, as Jupiter goes back into Aries and into your 10th house, you will be now taking the action steps to literally expand your career to the next level. So congratulations. This next 6 months is coming around the hoop to do just that. And we want to take into account the eclipse that you're going to have coming into the 5th and 11th house, that's going to secure more independence through your creative endeavors. So Virgo season, where your IC is still 3rd house from your rising. And given that your sun is in Pisces, this Virgo season is 7th house to you, and it's helping you break through and change your comfort zone as it applies to the relationships you provide divine awareness for as an ascended master and as a super magical being that can transcend other people out of what doubts they have, which is now aligned with the MC to your career. So this is really going to make you aware relative to these evolutions of the right people and partnerships you feel at home with. And your Mars in Sagittarius is opposite Mars in Gemini on your Chiron. And this is definitely challenging how uniquely you can complete the unconventional nature of how you take unconventional action with your spiritual beliefs to channel the angelic realm. Cancer risings especially are in a position, more so than ever, not only to channel the angelic realm, but to incorporate angelic work into how you take enlightened natures of your own behavior and lifestyle and show and ascend it through people. So basically, from Gemini season to Virgo season, you reinforced what you did the past 2 years to take these elements, unbelievable elements. Like if you were to tell people that you prayed to an angel and the actual prayer came true, like instantly, they would call you crazy. But you're changing your own behavior through practically bringing this into replicable skill sets that you can now master. Once you step into Sagittarius season, you're taking what you've mastered for yourself to now serve and change other people's lives and be like, you don't have to believe that it's not true. I'll do it for you. You're showing other people. So the Mars opposition is completing the enlightened faculty with how you ascend this next level action with everything you're understanding and how to release old ways of doing these abstract supernatural abilities, especially as a Pisces sun, where you're looking at everything beyond the veil. And I hope that made sense and I didn't use too much jargon. The most important thing I'll say about this is your North Node is in Taurus. So you're literally coming into a nodal return to complete all of this relative to the respective cycles. So Jen Fitzgerald, we know your Aries rising and moon and the Virgo sun, which is very mind-blowing to me because the two people to get live readings both have rising and moon. So you're both high priestess archetypes, okay? And with the moon on your rising, you are quintessentially understanding the significance of your character, that Jupiter is significantly enhancing and stepping into the next level. Congratulations. You're stepping into your brand new 12-year cycle. And 2022 is a transcendence period with which to prepare you for 2023, where you will magnificently step into this brand new 12-year cycle, which for me led to me becoming the peace dealer. So it's a period where as you cleared Pisces, you're letting go of unconscious habits that release doubt about who you're coming into. And of course, because your sun is in Virgo, your awareness in the 6th house is having you be in a position to integrate the awareness of how the mastery of your habits and techniques help others, and how you're able to critically analyze other people's habits and behaviors in service to them. So the opposition of Neptune in your 12th is transcending the release of supernatural beliefs that seem like fantasy to others, but through your enlightened skill sets with Mars and Gemini in your third house, you're able to brilliantly bridge the imagination with your reality through your mind and creatively bring to reality seemingly supernatural experiences, whether through healing, whether through analysis. The cool thing is that to you, it's not going to really seem supernatural or crazy because it's something that you've been practicing and repeating every day. But to other people, it's going to be like magic because of how easy you bring this into fruition. And I kind of want to emphasize that mutable cross between Mars in your third and Neptune in your 12th, because Virgo in the sixth is integrating these facets into techniques and the way you work and live your lifestyle that with Pluto in your 10th will break you through into greater ground. Okay. So I hope that resonates with you. Because once again, as an Aries moon, you're feeling into the vulnerability with Chiron, and Jupiter is the real evolution marker that's really going to expand the process of how much more you can accomplish here. So congratulations. As you're stepping into this next cycle, it's really, 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 really going to show you how much you're growing. And this Virgo season is going to prepare you to present all of this into your relationships with others into the seventh. Well, that's all I got for tonight. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this monthly peace report. And until next time.